people would be a whole lot happier if they focused on their own lives and instead of trying to document their life through a camera, to actually be physically present wherever they are. I'm Michael Mogill, founder and CEO of Crisp, the nation's #1 law firm growth company. I've built my business through practice, not theory. Crisp started with just $500 to my name and has grown to over 8 figures in revenue over the last few years, earning a spot on the Inc. 500 list of the fastest growing private companies in America. Our approach has been to take everything we've learned about generating massive growth within our own organization and help the country's most ambitious and committed law firm owners do the same for theirs. In each episode of this podcast, I sit down with innovative market leaders from the legal industry and beyond to learn from those who thrive in the face of adversity, challenge the status quo, and define what it means to be a true game changer.
This is Jessica, head of coaching strategy at Crisp, and today we're flipping the script for another special edition episode to get Michael's take on the systems that turn 60-hour work weeks into sustainable growth, how to evaluate lottery ticket cases without losing your sanity, and how to create a practical playbook for aligning profit with purpose.
A lot of times it's not even about you. I have found that sometimes when you've met your needs, the thing that at least excites me is how many people can you take with you?
That's coming up on the Game Changing Attorney podcast. All right, here we are for another AMMA.
Let's do this thing. I'm excited for this AMMA because we are on the cusp of the Game Changer Summit happening next month, but it is Q4 where the magic happens, right? Like this is like in sports and in business, the fourth quarter, like a lot can happen in Q4. And, we talked about this even on previous podcasts, like at the start of the year, what's your game plan for this year? Did you already kind of plan it out the year prior? Like what you set out to do, like new year, new you, 2025 is going to be your year. And then we had kind of the mid checkpoint, the end of Q2 saying, all right, we're about the halfway point, the 50-yard line. Are you aligned with what your targets are? And are you on track for where you wanted to be in terms of your firm and your life and your health, et cetera? And a lot of times as we get to Q4, a lot of things are off track.
Yep.
Meaning that there's a lot of things that you wanted to go a certain way, but you did not anticipate that you would have the obstacles that you would have, right? And this is true for pretty much everyone, including us, right? Like when we anticipate, kind of project for the year ahead, there's certain things you want to do and things you want to achieve, but you don't know what all the roadblocks will be ahead of time, and you don't know what, essentially, what is a barrier that you haven't experienced yet that you will experience. Like that's just life.
Yes.
And how you navigated that, maybe you've been extremely adaptable, resilient, and you've come out ahead. Maybe you're a bit behind, but it's Q4 is a really good time to make a whole lot of progress. And what I've seen from a lot of people is that if they're not pacing to where they wanted to be this year, they actually start to coast. So they look at it and say, well, I'll try again next year.
Yeah.
And chances are, if you go into that year, like if you finish the year weak, you're going to start the next year weak. And if you finish the year strong, like you can kind of figure it out. The other thing that can happen sometimes is like you're way ahead and you're doing great. And I've seen some people be like, look, I'm way ahead of where I need to be. I'm on vacation for the rest of the year, right? And that's where they start to lose a lot of those good habits that they've developed throughout the year. It's no different than if, let's say you run a marathon and then you basically don't have another race lined up. A lot of marathon runners, like they start to, get out of shape and get out of running shape, and it all starts to fall apart because you give yourself, you just become very complacent.
Yeah, you got to have a target.
So I'm not saying you got to be always 100% dialed in all the time, 24/7, but I don't believe you have to get ready if you stay ready. So the goal is, if you're not where you want to be, you still have time to put yourself in good shape and either finish the year strong or start the next year even stronger. And if you are pacing the way you want to be pacing, great. Keep doing what you're doing. Start really thinking, about what's ahead. Maybe raise the targets a little bit, raise the goals, right? Like you bought yourself some space and some time to be able to do a whole lot of like planning and strategy and so on to kind of tee up that next objective. But I think the worst thing to do would be like, okay, I'll try again next year, because we still have a lot of year left and a lot can happen over the next couple of months. I think it's looking at it with the right time horizon, because you don't have to look at everything from the standpoint of years, right? Like a 1 year. I used to think this way. I used to look at things from the standpoint of months or quarters, or just a 1 year, 12-month time horizon. And now when we're making decisions, I think about 3 years or 5 years ahead, right? So I'm not constrained by what happens from January to December when you're looking at a 5-year time horizon of what you're trying to achieve. So like if you look at that timeline, okay, we're not actually in the fourth quarter. We maybe have to be still at the very beginning, but now you start to make decisions very differently. So that's what I would think about as we are in the fourth quarter now, just to really lock in and finish the year strong. So you start, 2026 even stronger. But this is the AMMA. You guys submit your questions. We answer them here on the show. You can text us at 404-531-7691 with your questions, and Jessica compiles them. We get thousands of these questions, but I guess, Jessica, you've done a great job of just kind of making them more topic-based, so they, these episodes have themes, which we realize is a much more organized way of doing this. If this is your first time tuning into the podcast, we do different types of episodes here. We've got our traditional interview-style episodes. We bring on a guest from the legal industry or beyond and ask them questions like a podcast. We've got the encore editions. We bring back some of the most popular episodes of the show. We've now done hundreds of episodes. And then the AMMAs, which is audience community submitted. You guys submit questions. We answer them. You can ask us a question about anything, business, health, culture, marketing, growth, etc. Pretty much everything besides politics, they tell me.
Yes,
right?
that is
Which
correct.
is like, I'd like to do Game Changer Attorney podcast after dark, right? Or you get like the paid membership where you get the political discussions, right? But let's see what we got this week.
All right, let's kick it off with question number 1. Hey, Michael, I run a family law practice in North Carolina, and sometimes I look at other attorneys who seem to have this abundant time for their families, hobbies, and personal health while running successful practices. And I honestly don't understand how they do it. I'm working 60 plus hours a week, missing my kids' activities, and barely sleeping. When I think about cutting back, I panic about losing clients or falling behind competitors. Is there actually a way to build a practice that doesn't consume your entire life? Or is that just something people say on social media but don't actually achieve?
Yes and no. So let's answer this in 2 parts. First of all, you really, and I mean this like from my heart truly, you really have no idea how somebody else is doing.
No.
What you see on social media is a quick snapshot of one moment of that person's life. You're not following them around 24/7 to see the rest of it, right? It's like when somebody goes out to eat a nice meal, you don't know if they cried before or after, right? Like you don't know what their day was like, and you don't know how successful their firm is because you don't see their QuickBooks, right? You don't know their P&L, you don't see their balance sheet, like you just see what's on social media, okay? So they may be successful and they may be doing great, but I would not base your opinion or perspective on that based on what you see, because more often than not, extremely more often than not, some of the people that are, let's say a lot of the people that are posting their social media highlight reel are not as happy as they might seem.
Correct.
Or fulfilled as they might seem. And even then, who cares, right? Like you should be focusing on, are you happy and fulfilled? Is your business doing well as opposed to how anybody else is doing? And then the other thing is like you're working, burning the midnight oil, you're like missing kids stuff. Like, is it possible to have it all? Yes, just, not all at the same time, perhaps in the same period, right? So you have to build up to get there. So meaning that you may be at a stage where it's just you and maybe a handful of people you don't have. There's a lot of things you haven't figured out yet. Maybe you don't have a self-managing team. Maybe you don't have like a great marketing engine. Maybe you just haven't figured out great systems and there's just not many levels deep to the firm. Like if you figure all that out, then yes, that probably provides you with a greater degree of balance in your life, but balance is to be earned.
Yeah.
Right? It's not the sort of thing you just have from day one if you want all the other things. But you can say like, look, you can sleep 10 hours a night and work, 20 hours a week. And if you're okay with your firm being very unsuccessful, right? Like you get to decide how you spend your time. So yes, it is possible. You just haven't gotten there yet, but it is 1000% achievable. I would just look at it from the standpoint of if it seems like everybody else has figured it out, I promise you they haven't. We work with over 1,100 law firms. We know them inside out intimately. And I can tell you that in many cases, and we work with some of the most successful firms, but there's ones that you still have to come in on a weekend. You got to work late. There's just certain trade-offs. It's the price of success. So a lot of people, like when they see something on social media, and let's say sometimes you even post it, you like the listener or something, and you like post something great, and people see that and they want that. They just don't want to pay the price that you paid to get that. Right? So there's like a big difference between the two. It's like they want the nice vacation and they want the lifestyle that you have. But then if you actually went beneath the iceberg and explained, well, this is what it took. and these were all the sacrifices, and these are all the things that I had to give up in the process, and the late hours, and like, et cetera, they'll say, nope, thanks. And just because you see a quick moment of it, does that mean, like, I mean, there's people that every time they fly private, you will know. You will know. Like, yes. It's just, God forbid, they ever get on an airplane and don't tell you they're getting on an airplane.
Correct.
Like, just, like, they got to know, right? And these are some of the most insecure people on this planet.
Yeah, I always ask, like, who are they doing this for? What is this for? This is one of my big pet peeves, though. And I know I'm probably the extreme of, like, a private life, but I don't know. You shouldn't be comparing everything to this.
Okay, so I got two perspectives on this, right? I got two perspectives. My first perspective is to each their own.
Yes,
doesn't
that's
affect
fair.
me. Live your life. Do whatever you want. Like, honestly, I don't care.
Yeah.
Perspective number two, maybe they didn't get a whole lot of love as they were a child, and they grew up extremely self-conscious and insecure, and they had to just prove something to other people, and they're still, as they become adults, that they haven't been shed of those traumas, so they're still trying to be loved and say, please, like, accept me, like, I did it. And then like the worst people are the ones that are like commenting saying, good for you, you did it, congratulations. And those people are assholes because like they internally are probably thinking like, F you, man, like envy, etc. Right? I think social media is a net negative on society as a whole.
Agreed. Yes.
I don't think it's a positive thing. And ultimately, like, this is one of the reasons, like, I even put these app Opal, like, to limit screen time on my phone. I turn off all the social media apps. Like, it's like, I'll get maybe like, I don't know, like an hour a day where it's not unblocked. And then now I'm like, I rarely even touch it or go onto it. It's the same thing. It's like your mental nutrition. What are you consuming? Like, we don't watch the news either, right? Like, you don't want to watch the Crisis News Network, right? So I think it just comes down to what information do you consume. And I also believe that people would be a whole lot happier if they focused on their own lives, and instead of trying to document like their life through a camera, to actually be physically present wherever they are. That said, when we're out to a nice dinner and we get like someone crafts this like incredible dish.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to take a picture of it, right? But I do it to be kind of an asshole because, you know, I went on this whole fitness journey and I take pictures of desserts, right? Yeah. So I'll put them up and I'm like, here we are dinner eating dessert, right?
Never skip dessert.
I think it's cool, like the memories like feature. You can kind of like, so you see the kids and they were younger, that sort of thing. But as far as I'm concerned, I don't know. Like, to each their own, enjoy your life. But I would think about, if you can't do anything without documenting it, ask yourself why.
Yeah, agreed. All right, question number 2. Michael, I just turned down what could have been one of the biggest cases of my career because I knew it would consume my next year of my life. My partners think I'm insane for walking away from that kind of case, and honestly, I'm second guessing myself too. But I keep thinking about missing another year of my kids' lives, and I just couldn't do it. Did I make a terrible business decision? How do you evaluate opportunities when the financial upside is huge, but the personal cost feels too high? Everyone's acting like I just threw away a winning lottery ticket.
Okay, did you make the right decision? Let's zoom out all the way. We're a spinning ball of gas floating around the galaxy, and like, honestly, who knows, right? Only you can determine it, and sometimes you can't tell if you made the right decision until you look back on it later. It depends. So I'll put it this way. If you really, 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 really needed this case for like financial reasons, and this was something that like, if you didn't take on this case, that the firm wouldn't be able to continue on, remain competitive, you wouldn't be able to meet payroll, you wouldn't be able to do something that you previously couldn't do, or maybe you needed it for like experience, or it could be a landmark case to build like your name and your authority, and you said no, then yeah, maybe it was a bad decision. But let's say those things weren't a factor, and let's say you're in a place where you're content and you're happily content. And yes, you can make more money, but you don't necessarily need more money. Maybe it's more important for you to spend time with your family and kids right now. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. So you can look and you can argue that was probably the right decision.
Yeah.
Somebody else who doesn't prioritize their family and their kids could say, well, you made the wrong decision. It's through the eye of the beholder, right? It's like everyone's priorities are different. There's not like a right decision and a wrong decision. It's what is right for you and what is right for you. And you, at the end of the day, are the person who has to live with your decisions. Rick Moranis, like when those movies like were coming out, like Honey, Who Shrunk the Kids, and Rick Moranis, I believe his wife had passed away. And Rick was like a big deal in Hollywood. He was getting booked for all sorts of movies. And he left show business to be a dad and focus on his family and never returned.
Yeah.
And there's people that were like, I can't believe at the prime of his career that Rick Moranis like had stopped acting in movies. But if you ask Rick Moranis, did you make the right decision? And he'd say, look, to me, being a dad was the most important thing in my life. So ultimately, it's Like, you have to decide what's right for you, what's wrong for you. And other people are going to have their perspectives. Like, they're going to judge you, but that's through their lens. You have to realize that when people criticize you, it's not that so much criticizing you, they're just criticizing a difference in belief.
Yeah.
That's really what haters are, right? Like, the only reason somebody is a hater is because their perspective on a situation is different from your own. So they might look at it and judge it in a negative way, but you look at it completely differently. So just because it doesn't align with somebody else's expectations doesn't necessarily mean it's the wrong thing. You have to weigh it in terms of what can you live with and what are you going to be able to years from now, what will you regret? There's a whole regret minimization framework that Bill Perkins talks about, in the book Die With Zero. We've had him on the podcast. You can go back and listen to that episode. So ultimately, if you felt that it was right for you and it's where your priorities are, my view is that you can always make more money, but you can't get more time back.
To close this out with question number 3, this is going to sound like a midlife crisis, but Michael, I'm making the most money I've ever made, but I feel completely empty. I thought hitting my revenue goals would feel like winning, but instead I just feel exhausted and disconnected from why I became a lawyer in the first place. My wife asked me recently, what are you even working for? And I honestly couldn't give her a good answer. Do you think this is a temporary funk and maybe I just need a vacation, or have you experienced something like this before?
Of course, I've experienced it before. I was just thinking so my triathlon coach, when I first started on that journey, I'm not going to talk about it yet on this podcast, but I was telling him look, man, I can kind of bike, but I can't swim. I can not drown. I can't swim and I don't like running. And he said to me, well, you better figure that out then. So my thought to answer this question is, you better figure that out then. So yes, it could be a midlife crisis, but really all it is just a crisis of purpose.
Yeah.
And yes, I've been there. A lot of people have been there. And all that it means is that you had a goal that you thought would make you happy, and then you achieved that goal and you realized that it didn't make you happy. So and that can be a very disappointing and sad feeling, because you thought I've been striving for this for so many years. And once I reach the mountaintop, all my problems go away. It's like getting a new iPhone. When the new phone comes out, you think, with this phone, my life is going to improve dramatically. Right? It is, you just visualize it. I'm I could really use a phone like that, a better camera and a better battery life and a faster processor. And then you get the phone and you're it's cool for about 10 minutes. And you're okay.
Well, dopamine
It's
hit.
the same phone,
Yeah.
right? My life didn't change, right? Didn't solve all my life problems. I think that once that happens, well, you got to have new vision. You got to set a new goal. Human beings are designed to strive for things, to always have, I'm big on this belief, and I may even end up talking about it at the summit. It's important to always have something you're looking forward to. It's something that you are excited about in the future, right? And because I find that in the absence of that, it's you don't have much purpose or passion or anything like that. It should always be something that you are excited for. And it usually is something that you have to earn. And it can be something that's very, very difficult to earn, which makes it more valuable to you. So I'd look at it from the standpoint of, okay, maybe you made this money, and now you realize that money doesn't fulfill you. Or you made enough to where now it's not the driving factor in your life. So what else is? And that could be different things. It could be impact. It could be a new type of challenge, right? Because I don't know that it was so much the money that was driving you. It was the fact that you were trying to solve the problem. So now you need another problem to solve that excites you, that perhaps, it's interesting. Once, in my case, I used to optimize metrics in the business. We would optimize for those metrics, which is growing revenue, profit, et cetera, and so on. And we got that to a good place where I'm okay, that's not as exciting. Then I started optimizing metrics in my life and my health, right? Let's improve VO2 max and resting heart rate and so on, those types of things. So I think it's important to set a new goal and a bigger goal. And maybe it's a goal that's so exciting to you. It could be a lifetime project. Sometimes you just have to set a big enough vision to where, wow, if that could happen, if we could cure world hunger, what would that take? Even Tony Robbins is that one of his big things of providing meals to children, and his vision is so big because of that. As a result, he's had to have so many things come together in order to be able to make strides towards that vision. So I think you just need to set a new goal, a bigger vision, something you're excited about. And you're not going to get the same dopamine hit from just growing revenue anymore. And also it's the realization that if you make more money, it may not change your life in any meaningful way at this point.
Yeah.
Meaning that maybe you don't want a boat, and maybe you don't want a bigger house, and
Right.
maybe you can already do all the things you want to do. So money is just a resource that enables you to do other things. So if you're kind of on Maslow's hierarchy of needs, to where I can pay my bills, I can meet the payroll, we can go out to dinner when we want, we can take vacation if we want, those basic needs are handled, then there's very little incremental value to more. But I'll tell you what, Like, let's say you wanted to start a foundation, and that was a cause, and it was some cause you were very, very passionate about, and it required $50 million to solve this problem. Now, money becomes a different type of motivation, not because you just need to earn more money to be a consumer, but it's just because that's what it's going to take to achieve this bigger vision. And that's what's going to drive you to grow and scale the business of the law firm. It could also be completely outside of the law firm. Maybe there's other things, like you're in a very privileged position. I wouldn't be sad about this. I would just say that, okay, you're done playing one game and now you can start playing another game.
Yeah.
So I think that's the thing. Set a bigger goal, set a bigger vision. Really think about it. Don't rush into it. Like, think about something you can be very, very excited about for a very long time. Something that's going to challenge you because, you've already figured this stuff out, like this part. So just setting a bigger number associated with it may not be very exciting, but maybe there's something that you haven't done, you've always wanted to do, or that could, a lot of times it's not even about you. I have found that sometimes when you've met your needs, the thing that at least excites me is how many people can you take with you?
Yeah.
Right? How many people can you bring up the mountain with you? That to me becomes way more gratifying. When I see somebody else succeed, whether it's like a Crisp coach member or one of our team members, that's way more exciting to me than any level of success that I achieve. Just because, like, if we've created a vehicle to be able to support them in achieving what they want, like, there's a lot of people we can help.
That's one thing you always say is make sure your vision is big enough to hold all the individual visions.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. We will see you next time.
All right. Until next time.
You've been listening to the Game Changing Attorney podcast with Michael Mogill. If you found this episode valuable, here are 3 free ways that we can help you grow your law firm. Number 1, download the first chapter of Michael's book absolutely free at gamechangingattorney.com. Number 2, you can shoot Michael a text at 404-531-7691 and ask him any question you'd like. You might just hear the answer on the next episode. And finally, number 3, if you can leave this podcast a 5-star review, it will help us gain access to more influential thought leaders and bring their lessons learned here to you. For more information on this episode, see the show notes in your podcast app or visit legalpodcast.com.